Hello, so I'm temporarily back from the dead and in this parking lot again because I saw Love Lies Bleeding and then I went online to see all the different reviews. And I think there might have been one or two by people who are actually LGBT, but overall it's just like straight people being like, and this is what I thought of the movie. And I was just like, okay, that's fair, but like, I want the lesbian perspective. So I kind of lost my mind a little bit this morning. I literally made like a 2-page full outline of what I want to say in the video. It's gonna be a little long, but honestly, like, the movie is well worth it. So fun fact, this is a little embarrassing, but I went to see it at like 6:45 at night, and I was like, okay, let's go see this movie. I heard it's good. I love the movie poster. I already bought myself a copy. Awesome. We're gonna see how this is. I left the movie theater at like around 8:30, and then I was like, wait a minute, and then I literally went back for the second round and I caught the second showing of it because it was so good. And to me, there's so much to digest in the movie. So I am gonna say the least spoiler part is going to be my synopsis, and by my synopsis I mean the synopsis I literally copied off of Wikipedia, and then after that we are in spoiler territory. This is going to be a combination of both a review and an analysis. Something I really wanted to go into is the characters and their motivations and kind of what's going on with them. So that's going to be the gist, and then obviously like all the little things that stood out to me, and then like just the ending, which was like crazy. So if you don't want to be spoiled by this review, I would simply listen to my synopsis and then from there escape to the movie theater and then come back and see kind of, I don't know, if you want to hear my thoughts on it, you can, or watch somebody else's review, or do what I did last night and get home from the movie theater at 12 at night, literally lie in bed, stare up at the ceiling and be like, it's so real. Like, that movie was real somehow. Like, it was crazy. So the synopsis is, also not for nothing, this character has my name, so I'm gonna say Lou a bunch of times and it's gonna make me look crazy, and I am okay with that. But just so you know, if I say Lou, it could either mean Kristen Stewart with a mullet, or it could mean me, Lou, as a person. So maybe for this sake, I'll use my actual name. It's Liu. It's not Lou. Surprise. Every American who I've told my name is Lou, it's not Lou. It's actually Liu Singh, but it's fine. We're going to ignore that. So, synopsis. Lou is a reclusive gym member who falls hard for Jackie, an ambitious bodybuilder who's heading to Vegas to pursue her dream. Their love soon leads to violence as they get pulled deeper into the web of Lou's criminal family. Crime family, criminal family. Either way, there is crime occurring. So that's the gist of it. And now the spoilers, because I'm going to be literally discussing the film. So just get on out of here if you haven't seen it. Also, if you don't care about spoilers, you can stay. I don't really, whatever. It's up to you. So the themes for this movie that I wrote down are addiction, isolation, self-image, self-sacrifice, and control or lack thereof. Character analysis time, which was my favorite thing to think about, even though I feel like this movie has like put me into like a hole where all I can do is like hyperfixate on like the characters and like everything that happened and the fact that it exists, and I'm just like it makes me feel so crazy. Anyway, so I would say like the main focus of Lou's character, this is not working. I feel so crazy. The main focus of my character in this movie, just kidding, the whole side note, the whole time I was watching this movie, like, I was very firmly in my head, like, in the theater being like, wow, my white Sona, that's crazy, like, that's so, like, anyway, so self-sacrifice. Lou's life revolves around service to others at work and in her family. Her rage and her intelligence ties her to her father. So essentially, like, her and her dad, I feel like, have a lot in common, which is not good because her dad's, like, a pretty messed up person. She hardly does anything for herself. She always looks tired and beaten down. She has a fixation on turning her care outward. So she doesn't, like, she does the bare minimum for herself. She, like, makes her little microwave dinners. She takes care of her cat. I know that's not technically for herself. That's also for another living creature. But, like, she does. And I don't know. She just, everybody comes before her in her life. That's the way she does it. And I feel like to a certain extent that's, like, a coping mechanism, because taking care of yourself is, like, not just always self-care bubble baths, like genuinely taking care of yourself and doing what you need to do for yourself when you think you're worthless or you don't feel good about yourself is so difficult. Like, not to project, but like I'm about to project. Like, let me tell you. She's always been, she's always been a tool for her family. So that her family really uses her in a lot of ways, like her sister and her dad. And I'm sure if her, once again, spoilers, if her mom was around, I don't think her mom's dead personally, but I can get into that later. If her mom was around, she'd probably be taking care of her mom too. Jackie, who's the bodybuilder, and the love interest, is a want that she's never had. So essentially, like, it seems like she's really not into a whole lot of people, like she's not attracted to them. It seems like she is one of the only lesbians in a small town, so like obviously like she just doesn't have a selection or like a variety of, you know, different people who she could choose to date or choose to get close with even as friends. Like she has the one girl, Daisy, who is like honestly very predatory towards her, which I will go into later in the review. And like, how is that supposed to be any sort of relationship that's like good for her? Like, she actively is just like, okay, I guess I'll be alone because I have to be. And then, yeah, there it is. Right after I just put the sentence, LGBT people often live in scarcity. So it's just scarcity of like, not just resources, not just like, you know, relationships, but just like everything. Like it's, especially, I'm pretty sure she lives in Arizona. Like she lives in a small town in Arizona in like 1989. Like, they also never specify how old the characters are. So they could be anything from 18 to like 25. Like you don't really know. All you know is that like Kristen Stewart's character Lou is old enough to drink and old enough to go to like Winky's, like the bar, hypothetically, with like Daisy who keeps pestering her about it. And old enough to have her own apartment and like, you know, run a gym as a manager, even though it's her dad's gym. So like, I don't know, that's a little, I feel like he would literally let a child probably run his gym because he doesn't give a shit, but who knows. So moving on to Jackie, whose character's center kind of arc is about self-fixation. And very quickly you can notice the foils between the two characters, because you have somebody who's deeply self-sacrificing, you have somebody who's deeply self-fixated. I wouldn't even say out of narcissism, I'd say out of like almost necessity, which I'll get into in a second. So it's not necessarily framed this way in the movie, the way her character is. They kind of just frame her as, oh, she's the bodybuilder. She's like the attractive, like beautiful, like desired, like person in the movie. But the way I see her, which kind of is like part of her arc, is, I mean, it's part of her entire life. Like, it's like a whole thing that I feel like doesn't get addressed a whole lot, but they do kind of like Easter egg certain things in there, is the fact that she's a runaway orphan, potentially a victim of physical or sexual abuse in her adoptive home. She has a fixation on control and wanting to feel powerful. She gets called a monster by her adoptive mother, and it could be about her size, sexuality, or race, which never comes up in the film, but I think it's really relevant and it informs a lot of her life because, like, side note, Katie O'Brien, the actress, is mixed, which I thought she was. Like, I just, like, figured from looking at her, but I was like, well, I don't really know, maybe, you know, maybe not. And yeah, her mom's black. So like, I don't know, I feel like they don't explicitly mention it in the movie. Like, obviously she could play a character who isn't mixed. She's very like Meghan Markle mixed, where it's like, you could literally just be Italian. We just don't know. But honestly, like, I don't know. Like it really depends on the person. But yeah, so that's something that I feel like really plays into her character if it was ever brought up, but it's not, so it's fine. She was adopted at 13, which is very late to be adopted. I know that like in the foster care system, it's tough to get adopted when you're an older kid, because a lot of people, for some reason, I hate to put it this way, but people really talk about kids this way. They're like, oh, it's like when you're a puppy, we can train you and raise you the way we want, but when you're an older dog, we just, you know, you're just gonna have a set personality. And it's like, so people really do see children as like pets they're adopting. A lot of people do, coming from somebody who's adopted and also was not in the foster care system, but bounced around different households in high school, like different friends and different people. And the parents did treat me like a foster kid, but then they would say all this like weird shit about like doing charity with it. Anyway, so I relate to her a lot in that way. And I feel like it's not really explored in the movie, and I wish it would be, because I feel like it really goes into her character. But she's never really been valued. She's been turned away and rejected. And she has a lot of transactional sex. So essentially I like struggled a little bit to think of it as the movie was going, because I was almost like, oh, she does sex work, potentially, that's what it could be called. But it's not necessarily like, oh, she's like, you know, doing sex work and like getting paid and all this other stuff. Like, she's really having sex with people, mostly like men who take advantage of her or think they can take advantage of her, in exchange for a job, in exchange for housing, in exchange for, you know, whatever like she could possibly need. So there's that. Also, I'm so sorry, I'm like literally filming on an iPhone and I can tell it's overheating right now. So we're gonna I'm so sorry, we're gonna very quickly maybe see if we can use this magical CD that I got when I was a child to prop up and block the sun. So sorry about this interlude. Jesus Christ. Boy, did I miss making YouTube videos. Except not really. Oh my god. I could edit this out if I was a stronger and more caring YouTuber, but I'm not. So, oh, this isn't working. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes life doesn't work. Okay, I think that should be okay for now, but also maybe not at all, and the video is going to shut down midway through like it usually does, so we'll see. So yeah, she just has a lot going on. And like the bodybuilding, I feel like I could make an entire video about the fact that like psychologically, like she does the whole bodybuilding thing to just feel in control of her body and to feel like she has worth in her body, because it is stated in the movie she used to be fat when she was younger and everyone made fun of her and people devalued her and treated her like shit. So like, it's just like a whole thing. A lot of feelings about that. So here we're moving on to the next part, which is parts and aspects of the movie that stuck out to me. Lou's relationship with Daisy. So I have a whole lot of feelings about this because I feel like I've seen Daisy before and experienced Daisy before every time I try to go out to a club and some random like feminine woman is trying to hang off of me and trying to put her hands up my shirt because she wants to see if I have boobs and just doing all this weird stuff. And is like, oh, it's because I'm so attracted to you. Like, I just really like you. And I'm like, dude, okay. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, and there's so many scenes. Like, it literally, the movie starts out where, like, Lou's, like, unclogging a toilet. And then this girl, like, Daisy, comes in behind her and is like, yeah, like, you just need to relax. Like, like, let's go to Winkies. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's like, you, and then, like, starts to proceed to, like, get in her space and, like, come up behind her. And, like, it's not... To me, that's not flirting. That's literally just like you're like assaulting somebody, essentially. You're getting on top of them and trying to kiss them when they're like very clearly A, she's at work. B, she's not interested. C, she's like, okay, like we have to calm down. Like, I'm not into this. Like, please get off of me. And I feel like they make Daisy out to seem like this really like stupid character who has no idea what's going on and is just like, you know, out to lunch, whatever. And it's like, she's really not. I feel like she's a very intelligent person to the point that like she's very manipulative and good at getting what she wants, especially when there's a point in the film where like, without explaining too much, not even because fear of spoilers, but it's because I would explain the entire movie from memory like a psycho because I saw it twice in one night. But so a crime is committed, like somebody is murdered. Lou's, what is his relation? Brother-in-law, who's a very abusive man and is married to her sister, gets murdered by Jackie, because Jackie is roid raging out and also is just like really upset about the fact that all of this is happening and that Lou is so hurt and like sitting there crying in the hospital. So she goes and murders JJ and then is like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? And then from there, like, Lou helps, you know, Jackie hide the body, and it's like a whole situation. And the thing is, like, how do I put it? Lou is driving JJ's car with JJ's dead body in the trunk. So that's happening. And then coming up behind her is Jackie with Lou's truck so that they can dump the body and then drive home. And Daisy sees all of this happening. And, like, you think she's just out there being her usual self, being like, oh, I'm just doing whatever I want. Like, oh, I'm crazy. And it's like, no, like, she's noticing all of this and being like, like, that's interesting. I can use this information later for manipulation. So she does all that, and it's horrible. And then later it comes into play because, like, a very upsetting scene to me is where this makes me so upset, actually. It's fine. So Daisy lets it be known that, hey, so Lou, I saw that, like, that girl was driving behind you that night, and you were driving JJ's car, and then he mysteriously went missing, and they found him dead. So the thing is, if you don't want me to go to the police, you're gonna have to give me something in return. And it's not just something. They literally, like, this makes me, like, it seems, they don't show it, obviously, but it seems like Daisy sexually assaulted Lou, because Daisy's like, you know, after all this happened, she's running around naked in the house being like, haha, like, I'm having such a good time, and like, meanwhile, Lou's in the bathtub literally crying, like having like a fucking meltdown, and it's terrible. So that happens, and I was just like, oh, like, that's too much like real life. I don't really like that. Not like I literally don't like it, because it is like part of the film that's very relevant, and, you know, interesting, but it's also just like, god damn it, like, that, it upsets me. So essentially, it's just, I feel like with Lou being a more masculine lesbian, arguably a butch lesbian, like, I don't know, things seem to happen to her, and it's like played as a joke, and like people in the theater were laughing and like being like, haha, like, she had to have sex with someone she didn't want to have sex with, and that girl she had sex with is so weird. Like, that's not funny, like, to me. I was just like, holy shit, like, that's very realistic but very scary. Like, I didn't like that. Like, naturally, of course, her pain is not being taken seriously. So there's that. I'm only like half a page through this stupid analysis. This is gonna be a video that lasts forever. And you know what? Sometimes we need forever to describe Love Lies Bleeding. It's fine. So another thing, when Jackie comes home hopped up on steroids and intimidates / abuses Lou. So another part of the movie is that Lou, like an idiot, gives Jackie steroids to help her, you know, body build and like build up muscle really fast so that she can win her little, you know, bodybuilding competition in Vegas. So a lot of the movie is in a skewed perspective because it's Jackie just not being able to even think straight because like the steroids are really like having an effect on her body. But there's a scene where it like freaks me out, honestly. So Jackie just murdered JJ, and like naturally Lou is covering for her and cleaning up the crime scene and doing everything she has to do. And meanwhile, Jackie's at the gym, you know, hopped up on her little steroids, being like, yay, like, I did it, like, that's crazy, like, I'm having such a good time. And it's like, meanwhile, like, once again, like, the theme of the movie is Lou has to go clean up every single mess that occurs in her, like, everybody else's life, and she's just like, okay. Which makes me really sad. It's fine. So that's all happening. Jackie comes home. She's really weird. It almost looks like she's drunk, but you know it's just from, like, the steroids. And she is just like, we're going to go to Vegas. It's going to be so great. And, like, Lou's like, we literally can't go to Vegas because you just killed somebody. And if it looks like we're skipping town, we're going to be the prime suspect. So why don't you sit down and stop trying to run out of my house that you're staying in rent-free, and you let me cook you a stupid egg white omelet, and you chill, okay? How about we chill? And then, like, instead of, like, relaxing, obviously, and being like, oh, yes, you are right, that is the logical, like, thing I should be doing, like, Jackie literally starts being physically intimidating, and at one point headbutts Lou in the teeth to the point that Lou is, like, bleeding. And it's really bad, and it made me upset because I was just like, why are you doing this? Like, this, I get that, like, you're not in your right mind, but, like, you're almost, like, you're kind of just being weird and violent towards your girlfriend who just helped you cover up your murder. Like, I just didn't like it, and, like, mayhaps I am once again projecting, because, like, I have dated people / my home life when I was a kid, which is not great. There are a lot of situations where people would be physically intimidating in the same way, and it was almost like, what is going on? Like, because this is also a person who, like, alludes to the fact, like, they never go into it because it's not a movie that's about childhood trauma, I guess, but they, like, Jackie alludes to the fact that, like, she's had, like, horror stories, like, really bad things happen to her, both on the road and I assume in her home life, like, as, you know, a kid who may or may not, once again, a lot of this is conjecture, but a kid who may or may not have been in the foster system, essentially. She's had all these things happen to her. She's probably been, you know, physically threatened. Like, literally at the beginning of the movie, some random dude punches her in the face because she says she doesn't want to go to a bar with him, which is like, what the fuck? But, I don't know. I just feel like the steroids are the worst thing that could have possibly happened to her. And I feel like it's not really addressed in the movie, the fact that Lou is the one who was like, here, I'm not only giving it to you for the first time and kind of like almost like manipulating you a little bit into taking them, but I'm also like going to continue to supply them to you even though they're clearly really not good for you. But you want to win, so like I guess you're going to do this to win, but it's also like at what cost? So there's all that. Because I feel like the turning point of the movie is definitely when, you know, Beth, who is Lou's sister, ends up in the hospital because of JJ, and then like the murder happens. I feel like that's the turning point where you see the sudden overuse of the steroids. Obviously using them in general is not good for you, but like the intense overuse, you know, and how she becomes like almost like a different person now because she's on these steroids and, you know, she's trying to be this different person. It's just not, it's not good. So there's that. I didn't love that scene. It actually really upset me, and I saw it twice. Once again in theaters. I keep saying that, but I'm like still not over the fact that I was like, wait, and then I went back for seconds for some reason. I've never done that before, but like it was a really great movie. Let's see. I wrote this giant paragraph for no reason. Awesome. So they're so with Lou and Jackie, their relationship is foundationally tough because Jackie is in such a position of need. Lou is such a giver and Jackie needs so much. She's a taker and manipulator out of necessity. Lou doesn't know how not to give to her. So essentially it is like, in the beginning, Jackie needs a place to stay because once again, she is homeless. So like she slept on an overpass one night and then like essentially was like, that guy who punched her in the face, I'm pretty sure she was flirting with him a little bit in the beginning, but it's because she needed a place to stay. So at that point, it was just kind of like, all right. And then she found Lou, and Lou was like, we could sleep together and then maybe you could stay here. And like, I think Lou didn't realize the full extent of the fact that like Jackie really, really like needed a place to stay. So like their relationship in the beginning, I think was like kind of the standard for Jackie where it's like, oh, we're gonna sleep together and then like I'm gonna stay in your house until I can't anymore. So I don't know, that's like a whole thing that was not necessarily explored but was also just like very prevalent throughout the movie, and made me really sad because like I just feel like their relationship really did not have a chance in general because those circumstances are not great. But at the same time, I understand those circumstances could happen maybe and then things could be okay, or they could, you know, go sideways really fast. So you never know. This is so like not the point, but it's like Lou's apartment was decorated really nicely and she loves to cook and be reliable, and she's like, I love her. I thought she was a cool character. I thought she was all these characters are really interesting and complex, but like her specifically, I feel like her thing is just like she just wants things to be nice, and it's very much the people pleaser middle child situation. Even though she is the little sibling, she's like literally taking care of everyone, like, and doing all this stuff, literally killing for her father, and she's just like, I would do anything for any of these people because they're my family. It's like it's sad to me, very sad, because literally I feel like I could see really nice things for her if she ever like decided to move on with her life, which she kind of does at the end of the film, but at the same time it's like you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Like you know, it's kind of open-ended. The other thing that stood out to me was Beth definitely was annoying. I say annoying in like parentheses because like I get it. Being in an abusive relationship makes you a different person. A lot of people in the theater were really pissed off at her and were like, oh, she's so like, ugh. Like literally she'd come on screen and people would be like, boo. Like they'd be like not happy with her. And it's like, I get it. Like she really kind of chooses her abusive husband over everyone else. But the problem is even over Lou to a certain extent, because she really, you know, she's more angry at Lou for killing or having anything to do with killing her husband than she is at the husband for, you know, beating her up so bad that she ended up in the hospital, you know? So that's a tough one because it's like, as much as I'm like, it was, you know, she was kind of annoying, like understandable, but it's like, I feel like it's beyond annoying. She's fully just like brainwashed in this abusive relationship. Like I understand, I've been in one of like several of those. Like you don't, like logic is not the same when you're being abused. You literally will do everything to justify what the person's doing to you. Like, for example, in the movie, literally she accidentally spilled chicken on like his pants, and then he got mad about it, and everyone in the theater was laughing about it, and I was like, ooh, maybe not, because like once again, like when you're in that situation, like offhand comments could mean you're gonna come home and get beat up for it. Like, you never know. So like, I don't know, as much as like her sister was like textbook like siding with her abuser, it was also just like, you know, like it's bad, but I get it. Like, once again, like it makes complete sense for her character. Let's see. So the next part I want to cover is sex scenes. I thought the shots were amazing. I think this is like such a weird maybe thing to say, but whatever, like it's true. It's like, that's how I think about sex in my head. So it's like, the thing is, it's very much, it's not just like, oh, the lesbian gaze, but like the lesbian gaze, except actually it's a man behind the camera and he's shooting, and like it's showing like exactly what men want. Like, no, I saw it and I was like, I don't know, when I think of sexual scenarios in my head, just in general, I'm like, I think of it the way that they portrayed it. It made me feel so crazy, because I was like, that's wild. Like, I've never seen that before. I really liked it. Like, it was amazing. Like, I feel like that's something I wish I could have seen at home. Not even because I'm like, oh, I need to go like jerk off to this like movie. It's like, no, it's like I literally, like, I look at it and I'm like, why does that align so much? Like, it's very rare when that happens in general, just because I feel like not that I'm like, I'm so special and unique, but it's like, genuinely, when I think of like relationships, especially lesbian relationships, particularly butch for butch relationships, which I know this main couple technically wasn't, but whatever, which I think is funny, because I would say the actress of Jackie, like Katie O'Brien, is very like butch or whatever, outside of acting. But I don't know, I just was really interested in the way that it was filmed, and the way that it was lit, and the way that like everything kind of went down. It felt very private. It felt like I was seeing something that was actually happening that I shouldn't be seeing, to the point that, like, because I was tragically raised very devout Irish Catholic, literally in the theater I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like, wow. Like, I was like losing my mind. It was great. Wow. Okay, so I literally wrote down, some cunt in my second showing couldn't handle it, and I almost turned around and said, if you can't handle lesbian film, get out of the fucking theater. Which is true. I did almost say that, because the guy, like, behind, it was like some random man behind me, like, during the scene where, like, Kristen Stewart is getting a little zesty. She's living her life, and I was like, God bless you. And I thought it was so funny. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but it's hilarious to me that, like, it's a lesbian sex scene, and normally guys are like, yeah, this is for me, everything's for me. He heard what was happening and saw what was occurring, and he went, disgusting. And I was like, yeah, like, we did it. Like, I'm so happy. Like, that's awesome to me. Like, dude, if the pussy's too hot, get out of the kitchen, bitch. Okay? They could have went so much further with that. Like, Kristen Stewart was literally like, Lou was reading Macho Sluts, okay? You don't even know. Like, I feel like that, I saw her reading Macho Sluts, and it reminded me of me sitting in my room, like, reading, like, Tom of Finland, like, original, like, comics. And I was just like, sometimes we have to do what we have to do. Anyway, for the ending / the fantastical elements, I have a lot to say about this. You could take the fantasy elements in two ways. The first way is they're entirely true and everything is real. The second way is they're partially / fully made up. And I'm going to go with the second option. I think Jackie's monstrous moments are how she sees herself / her anger. If she grew up in an abusive environment, anger overall could be seen as a terrifying thing or something that makes you a monster. I relate to that a lot. I have issues getting angry a lot, because maybe I saw so much raw anger growing up as a child that I was just like, if you're angry in general, you're just like an evil person, which is like not true, obviously, but it's because you can manage your anger or whatever. But like, it's, I don't know. When you grow up with it, that's how it feels. It's really bad. I do believe she went and killed JJ in a fit of rage, but it wasn't because she turned into the Hulk. Because in the movie, it's essentially like kind of portrayed that like every time she gets really upset over something messed up happening, she gets bigger and her muscles like, you know, like pulsate, and she turns into like this like monster essentially. But the thing is, I think that's just how she thinks of, once again, when she feels anger and she feels helpless and she doesn't feel in control, her body responds to protect herself. And the visual of that is her muscles getting bigger. But I really do think it's just like how, you know, how she feels right before she does these violent things as a result. Through JJ, she was killing every man who had ever hurt her, or anyone who had been hurt around her by men who were similarly abusive. I think the steroids made... Why did I say steroids like that? Who am I? What? Anyway, I think the steroids made everything surreal and terrifying in the competition in Vegas. The contestant probably didn't even comment on her weight. It was a manifestation of her insecurity and a loss of control over her body and herself. So essentially, she goes to Vegas against Lou's logical wishes and hitchhikes there and finally arrives. And she's like, this is everything I've wanted. I'm going to win this competition. Earlier in the film, she does say, I'm going to win the competition. I'm going to become a trainer in California, and then I'm going to swim in the ocean every day, and it's going to be so great. Which to me is actually like really sad, because she's from Oklahoma, so I don't think she's ever seen the ocean. So like, I think in her mind the fantasy is like the ocean is like the best thing in the whole world, or maybe she has seen the ocean before and I don't know anything. But yeah, that's what it seems like it is. And during the competition, she has like an episode essentially where she's in her individual round, where she's like, it's just her on stage and she's doing all of her poses, and it's going really well until it isn't. And then she has like a hallucination where like she throws up, and it's literally like entirely like she throws up, and like the vomit turns into like Lou, and Lou's like, I told you not to come here, essentially, like I told you to lay low. And then she freaks out because she realizes like everybody's laughing at her, even though I don't know if everybody necessarily is. I think she might also be kind of like hallucinating that a little bit. She turns around, the other contestants are like these like alien creatures who are calling her fat and saying she's ugly and like all these things. And it sounds like not the voices of women, it sounds like the voices of children. So it sounds like a lot of her childhood trauma around, you know, being fat is really like coming up and like making her like freak out to the point that she does attack one of the contestants. And then Lou's dad, who is an evil fuck, literally has to go bail her out because Lou can't come and get her because she's getting assaulted by Daisy. So it's like a whole, it's like, sorry if I'm not describing the full thing, like the full picture in chronological order. I just feel like so many parts of the movie, like it does have a flow and rhythm, like it does have a sequence of events. I just feel like so many parts of the movie like flow into each other. It's almost hard to like talk about without just giving like a straight like synopsis, which is like, okay, like if you want to read the straight synopsis, just go on Wikipedia. So anyway, the ending reminded me a lot of the Florida Project, where it's two little girls, or two, you know, in this case, two women running away to paradise after living through the trauma of their lives. I think they definitely got away. So essentially, like, the big climax and ending, like the plot twist of the movie, supposedly is Lou is almost killed by her father because she went to try to rescue Jackie, you know, from Lou's father's house. And Lou tells Jackie, run that way, I'm gonna go and kill my dad, and then like, or wait, either kill him or wait for the feds to show up so that I can like turn him in. So there's that. And the dad essentially ends up finding Lou and like shooting her in the leg and almost killing her. Jackie hears this and turns into the Hulk, literally turns into like a 50-foot woman essentially, and comes and like subdues the dad and is like, he's gonna get arrested and then we're gonna get away. So did I love that part a little bit? Absolutely, it was great. But at the same time, I really do think that I wrote it down. So Jackie turning into a giant was more Lou's fantasy perspective of her as a savior figure. So in her mind, it's like, finally someone is trying to save me from my father, something even her mother couldn't do. There is an underlying plot line essentially where like it's left open-ended. I firmly believe that the mom ran away because she was like, I can't deal with my husband killing, and I also can't deal with the fact that my husband turned my own child into a killer. Because the husband, I think, illegally traffics guns and maybe drugs possibly, and involves Lou in a lot of it. And I'm so sorry, Kristen Stewart as like baby Lou looks so much like Bella from Twilight. It made me scream. I was literally in the theater trying not to be like, ah! Like, it was so funny. And it was also just, there's so much going on. But yeah, so I think this is supposed to be a movie about women saving each other from their trauma. But also, it's not like a nice like studio like Ghibli film moment where it's like we hug and embrace and the magic of love saves us. Like, no, they're running around killing people in very graphic ways. Literally, like, not for nothing, like JJ gets murdered because Jackie literally bashes his head into a coffee table and like his jaw like just is on literally like just gone, and it's crazy looking. But it's an excellent film. I highly recommend it. I have a lot of other feelings about it. I could do a part 2, but I feel like I shouldn't because I just like this giant paragraph situation. Closing thoughts. I'd like to see more of this from Rose Glass. I think that would be so cool. I loved this role for Kristen Stewart. I think it suited her perfectly. I think all of her mannerisms, all of her like the way that she just comes off as a person seems like it perfectly suited the character, which like I was so happy about. I thought it was so good. God bless Katie O'Brien. God bless her. Oh my god, dude, that movie. I want to see it again. Honestly, I know I already saw it twice in one night. I kind of want to see it again because I also know it's supposedly like it's a limited run. When I say I got a poster, I don't mean like I got one of the shitty printed Etsy versions, although I did try to get one of those and it was awful. I got like the real movie poster off of Mercari, so we're gonna see if that shows up and it's good, but like either way, it's getting hung on my wall and I'm just gonna like fucking look at it at night and be like, oh my god, that was crazy. Like, I'm so like, I don't know. Excellent film. If I could own it on DVD, I would. Like, I would just have it on replay in my house. It's fine. I don't know why, but I feel like it ticked all of the boxes that I would want it to tick off. Would I ever want a sequel? No, I would not want a sequel. I feel like hopefully it'll be a one-off. I think it's like, once again, like, I think it's a really good like self-encapsulation. Do I wish they went a little bit more into Jackie's background? Yeah, I do. Like, they showed Lou's family, they showed her like background in her relationships and everything. The one time you hear, it makes me so sad, actually. This made me really sad, and people in the theater were laughing, and I was like, what if I fought you outside? Because stop laughing at this woman's trauma. So Jackie calls home, and it's like trying to talk to the little sibling. I think it's her little brother. It's either her adoptive brother or her like blood brother. And is like, never fall in love. Like, and this is after she's killed everyone and she's miserable and all this other stuff. She's like, never fall in love. And I was like, ah. And the little kid is like, where are you? Like, they said you ran away. Like, what's happening? And then the mom, who's a bastard, takes the phone and is like, don't ever call this house again. Don't ever talk to him again. Don't ever talk to us. You're a monster. And I was just like, oh my god, like, that's terrible. Because like, I've seen speculation from other reviews that, oh, like, they called her a monster because like she's like big and monstrous or whatever. It's like, I don't think that's why they did it. Because the thing is, it's implied that this woman, this mother figure, has known Jackie since she was 13 years old. So my thing is, it's just like, other than sexuality, because like she is bisexual, it's stated in the film, like the only other thing I could think of is just the fact that like she's like a mixed kid in like a half black child in like the foster system, and like, not for nothing, but like, just like, don't do that, you know? Like, not to state the obvious, but it's like, don't be running around calling like mixed race people monsters. That's really fucked. Like, just don't do that. Like, and they did mention, like, or Jackie did mention that she was saying that like all there is to do out there is like, you know, in Oklahoma where she lived, was farm and go to church twice a week. So like, it could have very well been like she got caught, you know, sleeping with another girl or something, and then she got in trouble. But like, I feel like in that case, it really could have been any reason she could have been kicked out. It could have been for nothing. She could have just like breathed the wrong way, and the mom would have been like, you're disgusting, get out of my house. Because like, those dynamics are just tough, especially when you have a family, like, and you're adopting like an older child. Like, it could have been like, oh, my husband really wanted an older child, but I didn't. Or it could have been like, oh, like, I got you and I realized you won't be like a carbon copy of me, so I hate you now, and like, you know, there's so many possibilities of what could have happened. So I just would have liked to learn more. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. There's so many plot points that happened. Obviously, once again, like, this is more of like an analysis review situation. It's not necessarily like A, B, C, D, E happened and then F happened. Like, you know, it's literally just, I feel like let me try to sum it up in like very, very short, because this video is already 40 minutes long. So Jackie comes to town. Lou is clearly miserable in her life. Jackie comes to live with Lou. Also, like, Jackie, in the first scene she's in, like, sleeps with Lou's, like, abusive brother-in-law. That turns into a thing because the brother-in-law and, like, Lou's sister and Lou and Jackie are all at dinner. And then, as a result of that dinner, and once again, the stupid chicken thing, Beth gets beat up really badly to the point that she's in the hospital. Jackie goes and kills JJ. Lou pushes JJ in his car off of a cliff and then sets it on fire, because the thing is, the canyon they pushed, you know, the car off of actually has a bunch of dead bodies on the bottom, because it's all people that Lou's father has murdered, and he was hiding the bodies in the canyon. Like, he would literally just shoot them and then push them in the canyon. From there, Jackie goes to the bodybuilding competition, which she shouldn't have done, and then she gets arrested for beating up, you know, that other contestant because she has hallucinations. And then from there, she gets taken in by Lou's dad, who uses her and gets her to kill Daisy. Daisy doesn't die at that point, but she dies later. And then from there, Lou is running around cleaning up crime scenes, essentially, and I feel so bad for her. And then Jackie's being held at the dad's house, so Lou goes over to her dad's house, and it's like, where's my girlfriend? And he's like, she doesn't find him, she finds Beth, and Beth is like, so you killed my husband? And she's like, not really. And she's like, you did. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then gets the information from Beth, frees Jackie. Jackie's like, you betrayed me. And it's like, literally, she didn't. She's been covering for you the entire movie. What the hell are you talking about? So that happens, and then Lou almost gets killed by her dad, and then Jackie comes and grows into a giant woman, God bless her soul. So beautiful. So beautiful. Beautiful woman. And from there, the feds come and pick up the dad, and then presumably Lou and Jackie escape in Lou's big, sexy pickup truck that I want. I'm so pissed off that I don't have this fucking pickup truck. God damn it. That happens, and then they start driving away, and it's like picturesque and beautiful, and then it turns out Daisy's still alive, and then Lou strangles Daisy, and then dumps her body and smokes a fucking cigarette, and then, like, they, I don't know, presumably drive off to California, and they're in love forever. And that's how the movie ends, supposedly. So that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this review somewhat. I know it was very long, and I know that it, I don't know, was more of a, like, character study, I guess, and like a film study kind of situation than just a synopsis or a plot point situation. But I hope you go see the movie. I really loved it. It literally, like, I almost cried in the theater multiple times, and then there were a bunch of men just heckling, and I was like, what if I killed you? What if you shut up? Like, I was like, not in my movie. Like, I tried to go during times when people wouldn't be there, and then people were there, and I was bummed out, and then there was a bunch of, like, white queers there, and they were laughing at the wrong times of the film, and I just got so mad, because I was like, what's funny about abuse, bitch? What's funny? Like, I got so annoyed. It was fine. I literally could have screamed out loud, but when it comes out on any of the streaming platforms, let me tell you, I will be watching it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day for the rest of my life, because I really loved it. I thought it was a great film. Once again, please buy tickets to support it. I hope you can go see it if it's in theaters by you. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like, this is, like, also, like, side note, like, sort of random sounding, but I may or may not, hopefully, we shall see, be getting 2 copies, maybe, of the Love Lies Bleeding movie poster. Maybe I could do a giveaway raffle thing, who knows. I would love to do that, because I think the poster is very beautiful. It's just, Katie O'Brien being like, and I'm just like, like, I love you, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's fine. It's fine. Alright, I will maybe talk to you soon, or maybe I'll talk to you never, who knows. I'm surprised I was even up to filming a video today. But, you know, also, it's just life update, side note situation. I haven't been around lately on social media or on YouTube or on anything because my mom died and it was really bad. And then I couldn't go to the funeral because my family is ignorant to her abuse and homophobia, and I did not want to bring that up at a funeral. And also, maybe the last time they saw me, I had hair down to my ass and I was wearing like skirts and shit because I was 17. So maybe this whole situation would maybe be very shocking to them. So I just didn't go to the funeral and it was really bad, and maybe it is still upsetting me to this day. But yeah, that's all. Also, I'm moving out of New Jersey, which is going to be interesting. I've been preparing for it for like a year, but we'll see how it goes. More updates on that at some point possibly. I was thinking of doing a little apartment tour when I get my own apartment, but we shall see. All right. Goodbye actually this time. Bye.